I think she's a little hurt. You guys might have been right. Oh yeah, that does not sound good. What's up, guys? I just wanted to remind you all that FL2K is coming up this weekend, and we got the NSX signed up for the roll racing. They start the roll races on Thursday. There's just so much going on that it is a 4-day event. So they start Thursday, we go hot with the roll racing, and then the next 3 days is all drag racing, and it has become the biggest drag racing event we have out here in Florida. So be sure to try to make it out. Unfortunately, the event did get moved to Gainesville instead of Bradenton Motorsports Park with Hurricane Ian coming through. There was just a lot of damage down there, and it just complicated a whole bunch of things. So they had to end up moving it to Gainesville, which I know does suck because they put a whole bunch of work into Bradenton. They dumped a lot of money into that track trying to prepare it for this event, which is their biggest event of the year. So I know it would mean a lot to them if as many people came out to the Gainesville event as possible. So with that being said, we will be out there roll racing the NSX Thursday. I did want to try to get the MR2 out there as well, but unfortunately, there's not a good class for us to put the MR2 into for FL2K. The best possible class would be stick shift, which would make most sense. It is a stick shift car, it still has a clutch, but unfortunately that sequential takes it out of the stick shift class because it is not a true H pattern. In any other class we try to put the MR2 into would just be way too fast for the car, unfortunately. So with that in mind, I've actually thought about possibly putting a H pattern transmission into the MR2. Maybe let me know what you think about that in the comments. It should be just as fast as it is right now with an H pattern compared to the sequential, as long as I can hit third gear. But essentially it is the same thing. You have a strain gauge, you don't use the clutch once the car is going. The H pattern cars shift just as fast as the sequential. It's literally just the motion that's different. I just get to pull straight back, while with the H pattern you actually have to follow that H pattern going through the gears. So the really only advantage I have is that there's just that less chance of something going wrong with a misshift or something like that. But even all of the H pattern cars nowadays, they have lockouts for every gear, and you know, I'll find a way to mess it up, but a lot of those cars are solid and there's just almost no difference, which sucks that, you know, we can't put this car into a stick shift class just because of that. But you know, it is what it is. When we first built the MR2, I didn't really keep that in mind, and I wanted to build a car with a sequential. But to fit some more classes, we might end up changing that out, boys, because almost every big drag racing event has a stick shift class. And if we did that to the MR2, then, you know, we could just bring it to so many more events. So that is a thought. But back to the NSX over here. She should be all ready to go. We just gave this thing an oil change. We got the spark plugs changed out as well. As you guys just saw, I recently took my dad out for a ride in this thing. Everything should be running 100%. We actually won the roll races last year in the NSX. So we'll see what we can do again this year. Go ahead and fire this girl up. Fired right up. And she's ready to go. So yeah, guys, we'll be out there Thursday to roll race the NSX, and then we'll be hanging out there throughout the weekend. So hope to see you guys there. We'll be out there with the booth and stuff. So come say hi at FL2K. We have made a lot of progress on the 240 since you saw it in the last video, guys. We got the radiator mounted up. We got our coolant lines on there. We still have to put some water in there. We've just been going over the car, getting her all buttoned up. Wyatt's been working on wiring over here. We got the dash back in the car. The dash is a little moldy up there. Definitely been sitting outside for a while. Still missing that back window, but the battery has a tie down now. Dude, check that out. You would not expect to see that from us, a battery tie down. We got some nice cables ran back there. We still got to mount the fuel pump. You want to show them everything we got working up here, just like how it was?
Yeah, it's just how it was. I mean, it's got headlights, turn signals.
It all still works.
Sporadic. Windows work.
Just like how it was before with the J series.
Yep, and then just one switch for the fuel tech and fire it up. So there you go.
Yep, she is getting close here, boys. We're thinking we can take it on its first test drive here in a few. One of the last things we need to, you know, get figured out is the exhaust. So we still just have these truck manifolds on there. This one's not too bad, you know, it's just pointing down at this like frame rail right here. Might get burnt up a little bit, but it's not hurting anyone. This one on this side is pointing like still kind of directly at the alternator and this wire right here. So this is something you would expect from us, what we got going on right here. I'm just gonna go ahead and tack on this little 90 to kind of get that exhaust up and out of the way. You'll see how it looks inside the car, but just going to throw like 4 solid tacks onto that guy because we'll probably redo it later on. And this is a good elbow still, but we just got to get the exhaust modified so we're not melting the alternator. The steering stuff should be good to go. Another thing we were missing for a long time was these front torsion bar mounts right here. We got those in and installed, so the steering is back to 100% stock, legit S14 steering. Everything's good to go there, which is awesome because the old steering setup was really janky. And then, yeah, well, it's just kind of getting the fuel tech rested up in there. This is actually the fuel tech out of the MR2. We're just kind of bumming this one, which is nice because, you know, on these fuel techs, 2 plugs, the map sensor line, and you're good to go. Just like that. Custom. Like I said, something you would expect from us, but it'll ride. All right, the custom exhaust is ready. We got our 90 just tacked on there. Up and out, like I said, this side should be good. Everything's all buttoned up. We don't have to hot wire the fuel pump and starter anymore.
None of it. It's all ready to go.
It's looking pretty complete in here.
Yep. Ready to fire it up?
Yeah, go ahead and start this thing up. That's right, drink up. It's the first time coolant's gone through this thing in years.
Probably.
Right to that rev limiter we set it 4,500 so we wouldn't over rev it. Well, don't you have the rev limiter set really low?
Yeah, it's at 4,000.
It sounded like it probably hit it.
Probably. Yeah, it did. It says it right here, 4,200 it hit.
Yeah, we set the rev limiter really low just in case we...
Just to be sure.
Yeah, just so we don't over rev this thing. Sounds good. We do have a slight leak coming out of this guy right here, so we just got to address that. Set the rev limiter a little higher. Should be good for a first drive.
Yep, I'm gonna do one more little Bernie and then we'll pull that apart and we'll fix that.
Fix the leak later?
Yep. Rev limiter, where are you at?
All right, Wyatt, please don't blow it up. That sounded really rough. Definitely needs some tuning. We are not ready for burnouts yet. Definitely has a little tick.
Yep, she does. But it's fine.
Definitely hear a little tick in there somewhere. Maybe it will figure itself out.
It'll clear up.
It'll either clear up or get worse. There's no other options.
Yep. Definitely needs a good tune-up because it didn't sound very great over there. It sounded like it was missing.
Does it still have good oil pressure?
Yeah, it's making 70 pounds.
You think we should still try to drive it?
I mean,
take it down the road and see if it gets any worse.
What's it gonna
after
do?
we fix
Get
that
worse?
coolant leak?
I mean, whatever.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
If there's something wrong with the engine, we might as well just drive it and see if it
Yeah.
gets worse or not.
It ain't like we're gonna pull it apart and go through it to look at it. So
No, we really don't care about this thing that much.
it's a junkyard 5.3 that slapped together with some parts, and
I mean, everything's in place. Worst case, if we did have to, if it went bad, you know,
yeah,
it would suck. But at
everything's
least
there
now the car is ready to be LSified.
Yeah. And at that time, we could do the exhaust right and whatnot. So, you know, it's really kind of a blessing in disguise.
Not saying anything's wrong with it just yet, but there's a tick. All right, guys, so we're changing a couple things up. We are adding to the exhaust here. We heard a little bit of a tick. We want to just double check that it's not an exhaust leak somewhere because we don't have any of the manifold gaskets on. So we went and got the manifold gaskets. We're going to throw those on there. There's 2 studs on both heads that we have to fix on this front bolt right here. This bolt actually snapped off into the head, so we have to extract that and get that fixed up. We want to make sure there's no exhaust leaks, make sure that tick is not something in the engine, which it very well could be. But we're also going to throw a wideband on this thing to see what the air feels like, because it's running a little rough. So we are going to have to tune on it some. So, you know, we're rigging up some exhaust here, and they're just going to come up and out. Something like that. I think we outdid ourselves on this exhaust. Look at that unit. We got our twin hood exit exhaust here with our wideband. We got our gaskets in there. We got the coolant leak fixed. Let's try this thing again. A slight tick coming from somewhere, boys. I don't know where it's coming from, but oh well. Okay, tick got worse. And she's done. Well, I guess everyone was right. Our LS is not doing so good.
Yeah, the tick got louder.
Yep, there was a tick.
To me, that's starting to sound like a bearing.
Dude, I don't know how it was a bearing.
Right, 60, 70 pounds. I don't.
It's anytime Y gets in the 240, it doesn't matter what engine's in it.
See if it'll start back up.
Unbelievable. It was about to do a decent burnout. Oh, yeah, I think she's a little hurt. You guys might have been right. Oh yeah, that does not sound good. Well,
we just gonna pull her back in.
I guess the comments were right. The backwards pistons do not last long.
We don't know that's it yet, but there's a possibility.
Oh no, boys, we might have killed the 240 already. It sounds so rough. She is done. I guess you guys can say I told you so. Frick, dude.
Pretty sure we lost a bearing already.
She's cooked.
Well,
My excuse is,
I've actually got a place to be. I'm off the clock.
Lunch, right?
Yeah, lunch.
well, we tried.
I mean, yeah. I ain't real worried about it. It's a stock LS, bro. But
Yeah, time to K-swap it. I don't know anything about this LS stuff.
on the bright side, everything's done. We just go find another junkyard motor and put a cam in
And
it.
try it again.
Yeah.
Gotta learn somehow.
This time we don't even do the fancy shit. We just cam out, cam in, done.
I wouldn't even do that.
Maybe you don't even do the cam.
Just run it.
No massive chunks, but a lot of metal in the oil. She is cooked, for sure. Well, we got chunks of aluminum in the pickup.
I'm starting to think maybe we got a piston or something.
Dude, they were right. The backward piston curse.
I mean, it's a possibility. We don't know till it's apart. I ain't jumping to conclusions.
Something's definitely not doing too hot, though.
Nope.
That is bad.
Yeah. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, we're just trying to get the pan off right here. We were trying to shimmy it out from in between, but it's very tight. We had to pull the steering rack and it can almost come out, but it's just barely catching back here. And then the radiator might need to be moved out of the way. And we might have to pull the mounts and just barely lift the motor because it is so close. But we're gonna try to shimmy the pan off and take a look at things. So we just got the oil pan off here and she is screwed. That is all chunks of piston.
That looks like a ringland now. Yeah.
Yep, that is the edge of a piston.
I knew it sounded like it went down a hole, but there at the end, so.
I saw it blowing chunks of aluminum out of the exhaust.
Yeah.
On your way back.
Piston, so. Some big chunks in there.
Well, I guess we'll see if that was one of the backwards pistons. But that's weird. That is weird.
For a broken piston, boy.
Yeah, it was running good until it wasn't. There's some big chunks down there. Well, that's official. Our first LS. Our first LS did a little burnout and then she was done. Probably have a total of maybe 10 minutes of runtime on this engine. Well, guys, we got the windage tray off. Found some more chunks of aluminum. We found the issue. It was not the backwards pistons. The piston that actually got eaten up was on the driver's side, which was the side of pistons that was in the correct way, according to the comments. So the pistons didn't matter. There wasn't anything to do with that. This came down to the biggest noob rookie mistake I think we've ever had, and I think it's on me. So none of the rod bolts got torqued because after we got the windage tray off, if you look over here, almost every single rod bolt under here is finger loose. Actually, these ones are a little tight, but look at these two right here. Those guys, loose. Look, we saw this gap right here. We're like, what the heck is that? These guys are completely loose. This one right here, look at this, completely loose. We haven't touched anything. This is literally how it just came off. This rod right here, also loose, and this rod actually broke. So what happened was the rod broke up in there and the piston stayed where it was in the cylinder and the rod came back around and it was beating up the bottom of the piston. So bits of the piston were getting broken off and falling down into the oil pan there. But yeah, all the rod bolts were loose, which is kind of on me because I installed all of the pistons and rods into here and then I just took the Milwaukee ratchet and I just ran them all snug and we never torqued them after that. For whatever reason, I went back and looked at the video. I don't know what we were doing that night, but I mean, while I talked about it, we realized we never torqued them and then I left it like that. And then Wyatt went to just continue to put the bottom of the engine back together, the windage tray, everything else. And we never double checked if the rod bolts got torqued. So yeah, it's kind of embarrassing, but you know, you live and learn. At least it wasn't on a fully built engine. This is a bone stock LS. It could have been on something much worse. Definitely something I don't think we will ever overlook again. It's never happened to us, but literally all the rod bolts are loose. And I'm surprised it wasn't making way more noise looking like that in there. And the fact that it did a burnout and stuff like that, I mean, obviously it didn't last long, but dude, literally every rod bolt, it's bad. So yeah, say what you want about that. Huge mistake on our part there. Don't forget to tighten your rod bolt, kids. That's all I gotta say. Well, I guess that's gonna do it for that one.
She lived a great life.
Oh my gosh,
A
dude.
short but great one.
I can't believe myself right now. Idiot. So stupid.
Hey, on the bright side, you'll never, ever do that again.
I hope so. I've never done something that dumb.
Big
We got
oath.
the rod bolts.
You'll
Ugh.
have that, bro.
You know, the only part that makes me feel better is that I feel like if we torqued those, this thing would have ran perfect, and everyone was still wrong about the pistons and all the other crap, because that wasn't even the issue.
Yep, it'd have been great.
I still can't believe it ran that good. Dude. Oh my god. It's whatever, dude. So, if anyone has a 5.3 laying around, hit me up, because we need a new one.
At least
He was so close.
At least a short block.
Yeah, at least a short block. The heads and stuff are probably fine. But also looking at the bright side, we got so much done on the car. It's, you know, almost done NA once we get a good exhaust on there. So it does suck we have to fix it, but at least we can just pull it apart, put a fresh engine in, put it back together, and we don't have all that downtime of wiring and doing all the stuff that Wyatt got accomplished today. At least all that's done and the chassis is set up for the LS and ready to go. But you know, you have that sometimes, boys. This 240 just doesn't want to run, but we're going to keep going until it does something.
This thing is cursed, man.
It is cursed. Just got to keep Wyatt from driving. I don't know. Anytime he pops in there, those rod bolts magically loosen themselves.
Yep. It was my fault. Sorry, bro.
It's all good. It's what it is. But that's going to do it for this video. Be sure to come out to FL2K. We'll be running the NSX, like I said. And that's that. Hope you guys enjoyed. And we'll fix this thing when we feel like it. Because I'm done with this car for a minute, dude. God damn it.
Hot garbage.
Throw it in the trash.